Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining my live this morning here at 10 a.m. my time. Where you guys are at, it's probably a little different. Or it could be in Australia where it's 10 o'clock at night. But anyway, thank you for joining us today. What we're going to talk about is basically where we left off, previous about a certain subject. And one of the subjects that we were speaking of in which we left off had to do with in school, certain policies and the way that you have teaching today in comparison to how it was when I went to school, or even when Jan, who's my special guest again for today,
Hi, everybody.
when we went. So anyway, Jan, nice to have you again. So what?
My pleasure, as always.
Yeah. So anyway, where do we? So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. You know, I myself, you couldn't pay me to go to school today in the way of kids are being taught. When I went to school, it was textbooks, pens, pencils, paper, carbon paper, things like that. Now, when you get a list of school supplies, you either have a tablet, iPad, which is in the same family, or a small, like a Chromebook type thing. Now, there's nothing wrong with computers, but it's not the same level of learning because you're not writing it down. You're letting your fingers do the walking with the keys. It's a different type of learning. How do you feel about that?
Uh, Thank you so much. I am actually a former elementary school teacher, having taught students actually of Steve's generation. So we definitely have a meeting of the minds in that aspect. I come from the old blackboard, chalk era. The computer thing was like kind of like in its infancy there, where pre-K students were like using simplistic stuff, but for the most part, it was kind of still like old school, like when I went to school back in the ancient 1960s generation of student. How do I feel about it? Well, I feel that there's pluses and minuses in every generation, but quite honestly, I think that the kids today are at a somewhat of a disadvantage without that one-on-one kind of training that you were describing. It seems like you obviously feel that way.
I do. I do. Now, my time, not as far back as you, because, there's about a 15 and three quarter, if you want to be precise, 16-year difference between them.
Oh, no, I meant as I was a teacher in your generation.
I know, but that I know as well. But no. Aside from that, when we were actually students,
Yeah.
and a separate,
Yes.
the way that you learned and taught by a teacher is the same way I was taught. And when you taught students of my generation, of course, it was the same thing. It was textbooks, papers, quizzes. It was written out. You turned your paper in. The teacher graded it. You got your paper back. You had your midterms and your finals and all that stuff. But I'm just not.
That personal one-on-one connection is lacking, in my opinion, today, that human connectivity. And also, it's a little bit of a free-for-all, so to speak. But there are some things that, in my opinion, that educators in my day should have refrained from, and yet I still hear people at times do the same thing. We were talking about this on my channel, which is Jan for New York City Saves Money, and Steve is such a wonderful channel contributor to the channel, and we were attributing my mother today. That's a separate issue. But we were discussing a practice that some educators do. Steve, you're in agreement with me about when it comes to when a child can't spell a word. What is it that we both don't like? When a child can't spell a word, they ask a teacher. What happens that's not really good? From the teacher.
Yeah, I don't like it when, and I know this has happened, is when the teacher will not offer the help to the student. I do believe this. This is what my dad used to tell me. Now, mind you, my dad was a yeoman in the military. He was involved with administrative, clerical. He ran the captain's office. He was in the Pentagon. You know, he did his thing.
God bless him for his service.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure he's looking down and thanking you for that. But he is the one that taught me how to write. Like in the 4th grade, he said, Steve, you want to write like you're speaking to somebody. Okay. So I did that. And not only did I improve in my grades, I mastered it. I got to where I was so good at it that my own dad said that I wrote better than he did. And this is coming from someone who did 24 years in the military or in the Navy, 22 years and 7 months day for day, if you want to be precise. But I was always told by my dad, coming back to what the topic is, if you don't know how to spell the word, spell it the way it sounds. Usually you'll be a letter off. You'll have one letter backwards, or like the word tired, you may have the I in the wrong place. The I and the E is in reverse, or you might have the wrong vowel in there. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to be 95% right. So write it the way it sounds. I myself, I was not a teacher, but if I was a teacher and a student handed in his paper, I looked down. If the spelling is pretty close, I'm not going to mark it wrong. What I would do is off to the side is I would put like a hyphen and write the word correctly.
Yeah.
I would not mark, because you have to give the student effort for trying.
Absolutely. Forgive my throat. What I was thinking of too is what bothers me, excuse me, from a student perspective and then an educator perspective, is when a student would ask a teacher, having difficulty spelling a word, and back in the day, the teacher would have said, look it up in the dictionary. Well, really? How does a kid get to do that? If the kid can't spell the word, how are they going to look it up in the dictionary? That is about the most idiotic thing a teacher could say. I don't care. I'm saying it on camera in front of the world. If you're an educator and you tell a kid that from the kid's point of view, and now from a teacher's point of view, fellow teacher, it's the most idiotic thing an educator could do. Look it up. They can't spell it. What are they looking at?
That matter of fact, our ESP was on the same level, because
I'm sorry, I tell it like it is.
No, not that. I was about to say exactly that to you, but you said it first. If you don't know how to spell the word, how can you tell a student, look it up in the dictionary? If you can't spell it, what good is the dictionary going to do you?
Because even if you're trying to sound it out, we both know that English is sort of a tricky language. Let's look at the letters O, U, and G-H. How many different sounds does O, U, G-H have? We have the word bow, the bow of a tree. We have the word rough. The weather is rough. We have the word tough, whatever. You know what I'm trying to say? There are just so many different, ways. So saying to a kid, look it up in the dictionary. Goodness, I need my water.
Okay. I was going to give a very good example. Think about, you have the word through. We know the word through.
It. I was looking for through. That's it.
But again, you have a different spelling. Also, here's another word that can be very, very tricky. It sounds and looks like through. The word is thorough. Good luck with that.
Excellent.
Good luck with thorough.
That's right. So that's a classic example of look it up in the dictionary. Teachers, really? Take that minute with the kid.
Because what is a student who can't spell it? They're going to go THEROW.
But then again, of course, we have, that name we call that does everything for people, turns on lights, turns on stoves,
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with all of this? announcing an activity and letting some electronic do it for you. Are you okay with that, Steve? I mean, I know you're a young man, in your mid-40s. So for you, that's like an okay thing, or do you think there's some merit in sometimes doing it yourself?
I have no problem a lot of the time doing something myself. And the reason why I say that, again, I owe it, mom and dad, thank you. I was raised to be independent because especially my dad, he would always say, well, Steve, he says, it's always nice to have help. There's nothing wrong with help. But do realize you're going to have your days. It's going to be just you. And you have a choice, either swim and survive or you sink. You have a choice.
Choices. So, we live in a world of choices. That's right. Absolutely correct.
That's pretty much it. So honestly, though, how do I feel about it? I would kind of give that answer a 50-50. There's nothing wrong with being independent, doing it yourself. But also, if you're able to tap on someone and say, hey, I need some help. Do you mind? I have this right here I'm working on. Do you know anything about this? If you do, can you help me out? And that helps a lot. But yeah, I would give it, to come back to that, I would say I'm down the middle on that answer.
And may I just interject something? Steve, you live in a unique generation. One leg is in olden times, like a little bit, because you were born in 74. So I was in high school in 74. So you had a little bit of that 70s influence. But then the other leg is in modern, very modern times where, you have computers in your face from day one. So in a way, you're at a perfect advantage because you have a little bit of, best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but when it comes to now I'm with credit unions. Banks are fine if you like the maintenance fees, but all right. The gist of what I'm saying here is this. If I have to deposit money, if I have to cash a check, I want one-on-one. Make a payment. I want one-on-one. Mind you, I knew not. I did it one time. I froze the ATM up. I really didn't know how to do it. I had to deposit money. This was back when COVID was like back in late May, early June, or whatever it was. I go to the machine. I want to deposit some money into my account from the machine. Deposit money now. I hear a door open, but I don't know where the door is. I think the money to put the money in is where the money comes out that you put in for to get it. Oh, no. Oh, I found the door after the fact when the ATM froze up. The security guard had to come out, take my driver's license, go inside. It was just a real ruckus. And then at end result, I got my transaction done, but the woman said, we thought you lost your ATM. We were about to cancel it. So I actually wound up creating more of a ruckus. Not ruckus is not the word, but more of what should have happened than what was.
Right, right.
But I'm definitely a one-on-one.
Yeah, we're not knocking technology. There wouldn't be this broadcast like this if it weren't for technology. I'm in New York. You're in Florida. We planned this this broadcast. You planned it, and we're here. And do you have any comments? Anybody there commenting?
Well, let me see.
I can't see it. Doesn't know what the comments are.
Yeah. Good morning, Life with Granny T. Let's see.
Hi, Granny T.
She commented twice. The first one, I was told that a lot. My parents even bought a dictionary set from a traveling salesman. Okay. Yeah. That's a good thing.
That's okay. Having that at home and stuff like I did. I was weaned on encyclopedias and dictionaries at home. Yeah.
Funny that you mentioned encyclopedia. We had a set of Encyclopedia Britannica in the house. If I needed to do a book report.
Love them. Love them.
The other comment from Life with Granny T, it says, great advice and wonderful tips. Well, I appreciate that. That's why we're here. I'm not really worried about anything else. If I the two of us, or me solely, or Jan on, if we can get a message out there that can be helpful to at least one person,
Yeah.
we're happy.
That's
if you
it.
reach one,
That's the goal. It's funny that Granny T brought up encyclopedia, if I may interject. When I was a child, Granny T, let me tell you something. I would fall asleep it was like for the children's set of encyclopedias my parents got. Literally every night, the book could be over my face. We had to take a specialized test in New York. I was in grade 5. I heard an announcement throughout the school that I had won something and didn't know it. They said the highest reading level student in this school is Janet, blah, blah, blah. 8.8 level came out. I was only in grade 5. I was sitting there, oh, wait a minute, that's me. When the principal announced it, who ended up being my boss later on. There's something to be said about reading. I used to like to read the matchbook covers, the cereal boxes. How about you, Steve? Were you like one of those can't get enough reading?
I did that. I used to like to read that. The only thing is this, when it came to the subject of reading, even as a grown adult right now, if it's not a subject that is of any interest to me, I don't want to read it unless it's something that I have an interest in or want to like.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
if it's boring, you don't want it.
Television.
How do you feel about book reports, Steve? As a growing up with teachers and stuff, did you like book reports?
Book reports were all right. It depended on what it was.
I hated them.
I did too. I
hated them, and I'll tell you why. Because most of the children do. Because I've done it myself. You read the synopsis part. Especially if they give you like 3 choices of books, they're incredibly boring choices. Let the child pick out the book they want for number 1. Let them pick out the book they like. Okay, they'll be more attuned to it. They'll work with it, and they will report about that book. Giving kids 3 books they honestly could care less about is going to end up as a waste of your time as a teacher, because what you're going to get is a synopsis. That little paragraph in the back. They write it down.
Yeah.
They try to doctor it up and pretend. How many kids did that? Every kid did that. I'm sure some of you teachers did that too. Growing up.
Well, again, coming back to a book report.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids today, you can go online, click Wikipedia. You can go on Google.
Yeah.
You can type in. Everything is there.
Yes.
Back when we had to do a book report, no, we had to go pull out the encyclopedia. We had to find, what letter. We had to.
Yeah, to go to the library.
Library, right?
Remember what you mentioned earlier today? Brought back the memories of the card catalog.
The card catalog. You didn't have a computer. You had to go find your alphabetized, pull it out, thumb through, pull the card out. Oh, okay, it's over there. And then you wrote it down, you put it back, closed the thing, went and got the book.
Steve, where are our computers? Here. This was our computer.
It was. Yeah. Yeah. So, but here's a good story if I can tell you.
Sure.
It was about a science project that I did in junior high.
Okay.
And
I think I know that story.
it was a science project, I should say, unless I've already said that. I didn't know what to do, so I chose the topic of a prism. It's a little clear glass. If you hold it up in the light just right, it creates well, there was no way for me to actually perform that particular project live.
Okay.
Because it took certain lighting and
right.
So I came up with this science project in a matter of like 3 or 4 days. I kind of procrastinated on it somewhat. And the teacher, now mind you, the teacher that I had at the time, we didn't have the best relationship as teacher-student, or the worst. Probably more toward the worst side. You know the story.
Yes, I do.
So when the time came and they went and evaluated all of the projects, and because it was in the auditorium where you had to set it up. A couple of days later, when they read what place each science project fell, mine made third place. Keep something in mind, though. Yeah. Keep something in mind, though. My teacher said, I will not accept any science projects that are done in a hurry.
Oh.
She never knew that. And my dad and I put this together in a matter of 3 days.
Well, 3 days is a length of time. That's fair.
I mean, it looked nice. I had the thing where you laid out, it came out, and it had the paper, and it had the, what it was about, and the prism.
That's wonderful.
And I made third place. I had a ribbon. I think it was a blue ribbon. I can't remember. I may still have it somewhere buried, but yeah, that was back in the 80s, good old big 80s,
No, let people should let their kids know, job well done. Nothing's worse than a kid accomplishing something like really important to them at school, and they know we're all busy, and everybody's running around and whatever. But I feel sad when I see or hear of a child that runs home and tells an important person like what really was a big deal to them, and that person's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later. I have to make that phone call. And believe it or not, that kid's going to remember that. Don't brush it off. The phone call can wait 1 second. Make a big to-do over it. They deserve it. The kid deserves it. Yeah.
Well,
encouragement is really important.
Well, nothing in this world has better meaning than looking at a kid or a child ecstatic or happy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, we all deserve to be happy. There's enough hatred in the world. But the kids especially, because they're so innocent. Honestly, though, that's really the importance of it, is looking at a child and seeing that they're happy.
Well, I think we pretty much covered it for today, Steve. We can always come back to revisit the fat cat thing, which I think I'm going to probably bring it up on Friday's show, on my show. Tomorrow morning, can I plug my channel a minute? Tomorrow morning, if you're brand new to ever seeing my channel, please feel welcome to the Jan from New York City Saves Money channel. And I just want to say that tomorrow I'm going to be talking about some free games that people can come up with, hanging out on Zoom chats or whatever with their friends and family during the holiday season. And this is like something that we could do virtually, because sometimes we just can't get to places, but to stay connected is very, very important. And for the people that do know me from my channel, either it'll be tomorrow or on Friday, I'm going to discuss a report that I've created about 25 things about Jan from New York City you will never find out about on YouTube. No, you just have to get the report. It's only $2, but here's the thing. $1 out of the $2 is going to go to a charity. It might be for the St. Jude's Research, or it may be for Habitat of Humanity, or it may be for the Food Bank of America. It might be all three, whatever.
Oh, that's
half
nice.
of that $2. Yeah, half of that $2 will go to a charity, and then the other dollar will go towards my channel, because my channel is growing and it costs money to make this channel, and I appreciate your help. I'll give you all the details about that on Friday.
Yeah.
Steve?
Well, let's see. We covered, the school thing. And
did you want me to talk about the fat cat thing, or did you want to do that maybe on another live on your channel on the next time? Whatever you want.
I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. I mean,
No. We have 5 minutes. If we have 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, please.
All right. Steve and I were talking about this earlier. There's this thing for anyone who's not new to my channel, but the people that have been there understand what I mean by the fat cat time of the month versus the skinny chicken time of the month. And it all varies depending upon a person's income. there are some people that, like at the beginning of the month, when they get their, let's say, Social Security check, for example, and they squander it all over the place. They feel like that, the wine is overflowing and the food is all over. I'm just saying, the fat cat time of the month. Sort of reckless thinking at times versus, let's say, 10, 15 days later, the skinny chicken time of the month where you're not quite sure where things are going. So we don't like that. Steve and I are of agreement. There should never be a fat cat versus a skinny chicken time of the month. It should always be an even keel, especially when it comes to food.
I know.
There should never, right? So I believe, honestly, Steve, I believe that's in its own show. So maybe, I just wanted to mention the topic, but maybe, Steve, on one of your future shows, I'll be more than happy to come back and we could like really get into the saving aspect of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I like the fact that one of your charities you want to donate to, the Habitat, you're helping people that, put clothes on their back and things like that. The food bank is good. You have a lot of people still out of work because they didn't ask for this. The COVID, nobody asked for this.
And there's a lot of food insecurity, and it's at pretty much peaking towards its height. And
right.
I'm understanding from the news now, normally, Steve, I'm sure you know this from my channel's agenda. Many times my loyal viewers know this about me, always asking people to contribute to their local food pantry and stuff. And now they are being taxed more than ever. So I have to come up with a way that would like sort of benefit and have a little fun with it. With the 25 things I'll never talk about on YouTube about myself. It's just a little report, nothing fancy.
Mm-hmm.
The person puts in their $2. It's a donation, and half of it is going to be matched up to charities. The other half is going to go to, to the support of my channel, because it does cost money to run a channel. I wish it was free, but it costs personal money to run a channel. So sometimes channel creative people have to, ask for viewers' help. And the ones that are interested, it's just a very simple process. So when everything is all said and done, then they could just go to my PayPal me thing, get the $2, and I will email them the report like within an hour of payment. But I'll talk all about that on Friday specifically.
Okay.
Yes, Steve, it's really important for me. Those charities of choice, it's important for me. People need a roof. Habitat for Humanity has helped so many people. St. Jude Center for Research, very, very good. It's a kind act of charity. And of course, for all the food insecure people, nobody in this place should go hungry.
No.
You know what, Steve? There are some people out there that are embarrassed to get food help. If you're viewing me or Steve, please get over that embarrassment. Embarrassment does not fill up a hungry stomach. It does not fill up your kid's stomach. No. The heck with embarrassment. That's what those programs are for. That's what it's for. You got to get over the pride.
You really do. You really do.
And thank you for allowing me to say all this on your show.
Oh, my pleasure. That's why. Again, that's why you and I, our brand, Young and Pine, Laurel and Hardy, Siskel and Ebert, Woodward and Byrd, we have that, we click, and it's hard to find that. I mean, you don't want, well, first off, we don't want to come on here and step on each other's toes. That's going to look, that's going to look pathetic.
No, it's rude. We wouldn't do that.
But I wanted to, Life with Granny T said a very nice thing, I think.
Yeah, she always does. We love her.
Right. She said that we're both so inspiring and she loves us. And well, we love you back.
We love you. And I want to thank you, Granny T,
yes,
for your shows, because your shows are for real. If anybody is viewing this channel, right now, and you have not signed over to the Granny T channel, you are missing out. Okay.
Absolutely.
We strongly recommend. We really do. We're not just saying it. We strongly recommend. Check out our channel.
That's right. That's right. Well, we could talk about the price of tea in, all over the world, or talk about, different breeds of dogs. I mean, considering we know pretty much a little bit of everything to talk about. But as far as what we wanted to, put out there based on, what was left off on your last show, I think we pretty much took care of it. But if you don't have anything, I'm pretty much done as far as what I.
Oh yeah, I have one thing to say. Please click like to Steve's channel.
Oh,
Please
thank you.
share your videos of Steve's channel.
Like I said,
Thank
I've
you.
been a channel contributor with Jan now since May or April. I can't remember which. Probably April.
April, I think.
Late April. And I just, back in October 19th to be exact, I took the liberty of going ahead and starting my own channel. I was going to start it on July 22nd, which was my father's birthday, but
And my channel anniversary date, July
Right.
22nd.
But a couple of three things came up that did not permit me to do so, but
It wasn't the right time for you.
it was not. And we happened to be on live, or we were doing something, and something just made me like, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to do this. I just built up the gumption,
Yeah.
and I put out. And if you're welcome to go back and look at my first introductory video that I put up. Hopefully you'll get a little bit of an idea as to who I am. I did, introduce myself and let everybody know to get a good feel for me. So, and that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else.
Well,
Jan,
thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it.
you're welcome. Okay. All right, everybody.
Oh, one more quick thing. I will be back live on my channel tomorrow morning, somewhere between about the 6:15, 6:30 era. I will post a notice. I know it's very early, but that's what we're doing. Well, I'm doing an experiment about these early shows, as I had mentioned a few days back. And I really appreciate everybody's time and interest. If you don't catch it live, you can always catch it on playback.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Life with Granny T, always good to see you. Well, why am I saying those two? Well, on playback, of course, but this has been fun. Really enjoyed it. This is her last comment. This video is shared on my Facebook page and the other one too. I believe I will share every video I find publicly. I want to see you succeed. I can't thank you enough for that.
She's so you're so wonderful, Granny T. We love you. This is a reason right there. I mean, she just shined. You just shine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, like I said earlier, if my message reaches one person, I've done my job for that day.
Absolutely.
Even the week.
That's my philosophy.
Right.
That's why we're really good friends. That's my philosophy too. If I reach one person and touch their heart, their soul, or their mind, just one person per video. If I did 1,000 videos, for example, that means I touched 1,000 hearts, mind, or soul.
Mm-hmm.
That is nothing to sneeze at. Every video created here, that is their heart and desire.
Mm-hmm. She left another comment. I really don't mind reading these Grand Life with Granny T. Steve, I really love the randomness of your channel. That's what keeps me here, and that's what will bring more people in, that you can come on at any time with whatever's on your mind. That's just it.
I agree.
Because I'm open-minded, I look at everything in a panoramic view.
Yeah.
There's not really anything I can't discuss or talk about. I can talk about TV. I can talk about music, which that's my first love. I can talk about, like what we talked about today, financial, credit card, going to the grocery store. I even know how to cook. So there's not really one thing. I'm just going to talk about this right here, and that's no.
Right.
I'm to put it kindly, a little bit of sarcasm when it comes to topics. I'm sort of a hot mess. I'm eclectic because I can, it really doesn't matter. So, but I thank you for that. I really do. That means a lot to me. Okay, Janet, I think this time we'll actually go ahead and call it a wrap. It's been fun.
Thank you so much,
You're welcome.
everybody. And thank you,
enjoyed it.
Steve. Oh my gosh.
All right, everybody. Have a nice day, and we will see you next time.
See you tomorrow early in the morning on my show. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye.